Lord, how are they increased that trouble me? Many are they that rise up against me. This verse expresses David's deep sense of being overwhelmed by opposition. He is surrounded by enemies who seem to be increasing in number every day. It reflects a moment of emotional pressure where problems feel greater than strength. David is not just speaking about physical enemies, but also mental and spiritual pressure. The weight of opposition feels heavy and constant. Yet this honest cry shows that he is bringing his struggle directly to God instead of hiding it. Many there be which say of my soul, there is no help for him in God. Selah. Here, David reveals the painful voices of discouragement around him. People are not only attacking him physically, but also spiritually, saying even God will not save him. This is a deeper form of pain when faith itself is questioned. It shows how discouragement often tries to separate a person from hope in God. The word Selah invites reflection as pausing to feel the weight of that accusation. Even in this, David is honest before God about what he hears. But thou, O Lord, art a shield for me, my glory, and the lifter up of mine head. This verse shifts from fear to faith, showing trust in God's protection. David declares that God is not distant, but actively shielding him like armor. God is also called his glory, meaning his true honor and identity come from him alone. The phrase, lift my head, symbolizes restoration of dignity and hope. Where shame and pressure tried to pull him down, God lifts him up. It is a powerful declaration of divine support in the middle of crisis. I cried unto the Lord with my voice, and he heard me out of his holy hill. Selah. David testifies that he did not remain silent in his suffering. He actively cried out to God, showing dependence and urgency in prayer. God is described as hearing from his holy hill, meaning from his heavenly authority. This assures that God is not unaware or distant from human pain. The response of God is not delayed in awareness, even if the answer unfolds in time. Selah again invites reflection on the power of being heard by God. I lay me down and slept I awake, for the Lord sustained me. This verse reveals a peaceful confidence in the middle of danger. Despite threats around him, David is able to sleep, which shows deep trust in God's protection. Sleep here symbolizes surrender and rest in God's care. Awakening shows that life continues because God preserved him through the night. It was not luck or strength, but divine sustaining power. This verse highlights how peace comes when trust in God replaces fear. I will not be afraid of 10,000 people that have set themselves against me round about. David now declares bold courage rooted in faith. Even if enemies multiply to an overwhelming number, he refuses to live in fear. The phrase 10,000 represents an impossible human odds situation, surrounding pressurized. Greed cannot shake his confidence in God's protection. This is not denial of danger, but victory over fear. His courage comes from knowing God is greater than any crowd against him. Arise, O Lord, save me, O my God, for thou hast smitten all my enemies upon the cheekbone. Thou hast broken the teeth of the ungodly. Here David calls on God to actively intervene and bring deliverance. Arise is a cry for God's visible action in his situation. He recalls God's past victories over enemies, using strong imagery of defeat. The breaking of teeth symbolizes disabling the power of the wicked to harm. It is a poetic way of saying God destroys the strength of oppression. David is confident that God will again act as a deliverer. Salvation belongeth unto the Lord. Thy blessing is upon thy people. Selah. This final verse summarizes the entire psalm with a declaration of truth. Salvation is not from human effort, but belongs fully to God. He alone is the source of rescue, protection, and delivery. It rants, the blessing of God is not limited, but rests upon his people. It shows both personal trust and collective hope for all believers. Selah closes the psalm with a moment of deep reflection on God's saving power.